Hello my friends, welcome to another video. If you are new here, my name is Chris and I make videos all about small business and crochet. And today's video is going to be jam-packed. Today I want to go over several things with you. Number one, I want to share with you my whole story about what happened with setting up the website and the online shop. Next, I want to show you what I made this week because I did take a little time to crochet. I also want to give you an update on some of the free resources and things that I owe you. And then I want to talk about the shop drop, which, spoiler alert, is happening very soon as of you watching this video. And I want to show you a couple things that are going to be changing and involved with that. As always, there'll be timestamps below in case you want to jump around. All right, let's talk about the whole website debacle. This all started with my goal of wanting to get my website up and running this year. I talked about it in my 1 year in business anniversary video that I spent $195 on Squarespace, didn't even use the discount code that I had because I was so excited and I wanted to have a website. I ended up not using it at all for the whole year. That renewal was going to be happening in March, so I knew that in January I set the goal of getting my website up and running, and I also knew that I wanted to have some sort of shop because my whole plan was to release one of the crochet products that I was working on, and I knew I was launching a product that someone wouldn't necessarily be searching for like you would on an Etsy. If someone was going to be buying it, it was probably because they heard about it on my video or maybe even another channel, so it made more sense to me to put it on my own shop so that I could bring it to anyone who's buying it at a better value and not have to charge those Etsy fees on top of everything. I did some research, and in January I narrowed it down to two options. I was either going to keep Squarespace or go Shopify. When I did my research and I was looking at the pricing, Squarespace was still that $192, $95 range, and it mentioned that you can sell as many products as you wanted. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. When I was looking at the features of the two different platforms, my heart was telling me to go with Shopify because I had seen all the cool templates that are out there. There are all these little apps you can add in. I've watched those videos of people seeing all the people shopping in their store. And it just looked like a fun and very kind of technologically advanced platform compared to Squarespace. But price was a huge issue for me because I didn't know if I was going to sell very many products on my shop directly. So when I looked at the pricing, Squarespace was the $192 for the year, and they mentioned that you could sell as many products online as you wanted. Shopify was $348 for the year, so the difference was pretty significant. As much as I wanted the whole Shopify experience of being able to use the apps, the barcode integration, all that stuff, I decided that it was probably going to make more sense to go with Squarespace and save the money. I wasn't planning to move my plushie inventory out of Square, but I thought that I might put some of my plushies up on Squarespace as well. And I found a plugin and APIs that I could use to keep the inventory in sync so that if I had plushies up on the site and I went to a market and I sold them at the market, it could adjust the quantities on Squarespace. So there were a couple little integrations that I found that were kind of appealing. So I was like, okay, yeah, we're going to go ahead and go with Squarespace. So I renewed Squarespace and got started on the website. I learned how to change all the colors. I knew that I kind of wanted a fun about the team page, which was really me because I wear all the hats. And yeah, I just started standing everything up. You know, a lot of trial and error. It took a lot of time, but I was learning the platform and getting everything ready. And at that time, I even created a few pages for products to see what that experience was like. And then I want to say it was about 3 weeks before I was going to be launching the shop that I actually started to try to put real product information in. And I had to work on things like figuring out how shipping was going to work, how, the weights work and all that kind of stuff. So it was about 3 weeks beforehand that I really started honing in on the product piece. I knew I wanted to offer free shipping over $45. It was just something that I had determined I wanted to do. So I couldn't figure out exactly how to do that in the shipping profile. So I Googled it and it was like, you have to add a discount. So I went into discounts and lo and behold, there's a little lock next to the add a discount button. And when I clicked it, it said I needed to upgrade my tier to the $23 a month tier. I thought, this can't be right. It said I could sell as many products as I want. How can you not be able to add a discount? Sure enough, I did some extra research and found that there are a lot of limitations. You can't do real-time shipping costs. You can't do shop specific emails, and they also take some kind of additional cut from the sale if you're not part of that higher tier. I was so mad. I was mad for a few reasons. I was mad because I do feel like it was very misleading when you read what comes with it. And I was just mad at myself because I felt like I didn't do enough research. I did kind of the quick and dirty and, just kind of looked through what was offered. And I didn't think to check into things like discounts and emails and all that kind of stuff. So at that point, I was really, really upset, and the pressure of the fact that I had already said my shop was going live in 3 weeks was really, really stressing me out. My Squarespace cost was roughly $16 a month. This was telling me I now needed to go to $23 a month. And that was just a couple bucks a month away from what my Shopify costs would have been. So at that point, I only had a few options. My first option was go ahead and pay for that tier. I already set the website up and everything, even started the product pages, and just bite the bullet and pay that. And then next March, make a decision. My other option was go ahead and purchase a Shopify plan and get the shop up and running on there, and later move all the website stuff, or try to get all that done in 3 weeks, which was not going to happen. I decided to at least make sure I did my research on Shopify and that I was going to then be comparing apples to apples. So I went into the Shopify base plan, did the 30-day free trial to make sure I had access to discounts, that I had access to, shipping, and all the things that I needed and wanted to do were going to be in there if I decided to go ahead and do that. So those kind of were my options, but honestly, there were no options. I don't make a good hostage. I was pissed, and I was not going to go with Squarespace. So I went into Shopify. I knew I had 3 weeks, and I just started creating all of the products and the pages that I needed for the shop. So while I knew it wasn't going to be the experience I wanted, as far as it's slightly disjointed where you're in the website because it's still Squarespace, I knew I wasn't going to be able to do all of that in 3 weeks. And then you click and you exit that to go to Shopify. Wasn't ideal for what I wanted, but there was no way I was going to pay more to Squarespace to just put my products out there. It took me some time, obviously, to learn the Shopify platform, to find a template I liked, to put all of my colors in and everything. I did a free template. I did not use one of the paid templates. I feel like I've seen some of those paid templates on a lot of different sites, and I thought, number one, I don't have time to figure out how much of that is really customizable. And number two, I've already spent a lot of extra money. Let me go with a free template. So I just got everything to kind of color match what I had on the website so it at least felt a little more cohesive. I did end up getting everything in and the shop up and running in time for launch, which was fantastic. And I will say that interface is way more intuitive than what was on Squarespace. I mean, it wasn't very difficult on Squarespace, but Shopify is built for this stuff. Not sponsored at all. I mean, if they want to sponsor me, that's fantastic, but not sponsored at all. But I will say that in comparing the experience in both of them, there's a reason why everybody is on Shopify. That platform is made for this. So it's very intuitive, very easy to do. I've had some people ask, so I want to touch on a couple of things really quickly that I think are important to think through before you're going to do something like this. Not everyone can invest over $300 in an online shop, especially when that shop is not going to drive traffic for them. If that's you, go with Etsy. Etsy brings the traffic to you. That is where people go when they think of looking for something handmade. If you are selling something that is a known product that has competition out there and you just want to drive traffic and you cannot afford to create your own website and to create your own traffic, then Etsy's the way to go. The setup cost for Etsy is next to nothing compared to setting up something like a Shopify site. As long as you work your fees into your cost to your customer, then there's really no downside from an investment standpoint. Now, if you can afford to invest over $300 in your site and you have a way to drive traffic to it or sell something unique that someone's not going to be searching for anyway on Etsy, then I would highly recommend Shopify. And yes, there are other platforms out there like WooCommerce, and I did look into a few of those, but nothing is as plug and play as Shopify. So that would be my recommendation if you were considering opening an online shop of some kind. So that was my dilemma. I ended up paying over $500 for my website, which was not what was in the plan. My attempt to save myself money cost me more money, which does happen on occasion. but I was so mad that there was no way I was going to continue with Squarespace and have that negative energy around everything. So over the course of the next few months, I think I mentioned this in my goal video, I am going to be working on getting some of those pages moved over so that eventually I am only on the Shopify, because obviously I don't want to pay for Squarespace next year. All right, let's get into this week's makes. I only have 2 makes to show for you this week. One of them is super awesome. I love so much that I'm probably not going to sell it, but let's start with the other one first. The first make of the week was the Shelf Dragon, and this is the pattern by Crochet Grove for the Shelf Goose, and using my mod, which has now been up on Instagram for a couple weeks. But I made this guy here, and I made him specifically to test that pattern out before I posted it. Because I wrote it down very scratchily, and I'm so glad I did, because I had mistakes. I had major mistakes in it, but I was able to fine tune it enough that at least I've seen a few people make it on the mod and no one said anything horrible. So hopefully it's working out. But yeah, I made this guy with a Elise Veludo and a 6.5mm hook. I just used plain black safety eyes. These are 16mm, I want to say. And the fur is that nicey fur that I get from Amazon. I used a little bit of black Naughty Pony for his horns and his little claw detail. But yeah, I will say that I don't love him in Elise Veludo, which makes me sad. I loved working with it. I loved working it up. But I think that the yarns that show the stitch more defined look better in this type of make. He's almost too soft in my opinion, which, you know, but yeah, he turned out good. I just found that like the features don't stand out as much in such a plush, lush yarn. So yeah, but that's it. He was yarn under, following those exact patterns and mods. And yeah, he came out fine. He served purpose. Someone will love him. He just wasn't quite my favorite when it comes to the definition of his features because how plush the yarn is. All right, the make that I'm most excited about, I'm going to show you first and then we'll talk about the patterns afterwards. So this is my Gargoyle Kitty. I love this so much. I do not have any plans on selling him. Now, maybe after he keeps me company, by the time I get to my market in September, I might change my mind. I want to make more of him for sure. He is made with the Bernat Mystical. He has 30mm hand-painted eyes that I did specifically for him. And I love him so much. So let's talk about what he's made of, because this is a mashup of 2 patterns. The first pattern is the Sitting Kitty pattern by Mom Stitchetti. I did make a few modifications in the ears. I just added some rows because I wanted the ears to be really, really predominant. And then the other thing I did is I made the tail longer and I added this little, you know, triangle, which is just essentially a cone folded in half. So I did that, and then I used the Snuggle Beans Crochet Dragon Wing mod. I used this last year on my zombie dragon, and I love the shape of these wings and how they stand on their own and have this gorgeous look to them. So I made a few modifications to them in the sense that I left a few rows off because they would have just been too long. They're just sewn to the back. And I did tack a few stitches here to just help them not lean back as far, if that makes sense. So they are tacked to the head to just keep them from leaning back. But I love this. And I am not putting any mod information out on Instagram or anything. Again, I added rows here, little cone, took rows out of the wings. That's all it is. But I love this thing so much, and I think this will sell big time. Oh, I also used a little flocked nose, safety nose in there, but yeah, this guy is by far one of my favorite makes, and I love him so much. Okay, let's talk a little bit about free resources and some things that I owe ya. The first one was the Dragon mod, so I got that out. It took me a couple months. I apologize for the delay, but I had a lot going on. The other open item on my list is the safety eye packaging. I told you I was going to work on getting that out so that you can use it on your own cutter. I am still working on that, primarily because I realized that I'm actually using a scoring board to make the folds in mine, but there's a way to add the lines in the actual file so that your machine can score on those lines. So I wanted to figure that out first, so just bear with me on that one. It's going to take me a little bit longer. And the last free resource I want to talk about is my pricing sheet. If you have not seen Amanda from Eclectic Scribbles' most recent video about pricing, I will link it in the description box. It is incredible. She had me rethinking how I price my stuff, and I am going to be adjusting my prices when it's time for the next market on my plushies. But her video is awesome. What she did is she took my free resource spreadsheet, downloaded it, and she actually added, she's an Excel wizard, by the way, if you didn't know that. She actually added a section for profit margin because she likes to make sure she's including profit margin when she's creating her pricing. So her viewers were downloading my sheet and kind of like, the profit margin thing's not there. I want to use that. So she and I were texting about other stuff and whatnot. And she was like, hey, people are trying to get it, but I didn't include that on there, obviously, because she added it to her copy. So I ended up saying, hey, send me your copy. I'll load that. So we did a little bit of a collab. So you'll see if you go on to my website and you want to download the updated pricing sheet, that is a collab with Amanda at Eclectic Scribbles. She added that profit margin piece in, which I think is super, super helpful. So if that's something you were looking for or you thought was lacking in the first version, it is available now on the website. The other thing I kind of owe you is a new version of the Hookkeeper. I mentioned in my video that I was testing out some things for maybe a Hookkeeper Lite or a Hookkeeper Sport type version. I am still working on that. I have been trying things, but they haven't all necessarily worked out. A few of you reached out to me about using silicone beads, and that is something that I did try, but I felt like it rubbed really weird on the arm and pulled arm hairs, and I'm not that hairy, but you know. But yeah, there's a few things that I'm still trying. I'm definitely going to get one out at some point, but it needs to be at a quality point that I'm happy with before I'm going to release something like that. But as soon as I do have something that's successful, I will definitely share it with you and get it into the shop. If you want to see some of that behind the scenes process, check out my memberships. I've got 2 levels. The first level gets a few sneak peeks here and there, as well as some other perks. And then my Skeiniac level gets full blown behind the scenes of what I'm doing every week, as well as the opportunity to get into the store 24 hours in advance and a discount code. So if you're interested in any of that, please check that out below. But for now, I am going to be giving you some new colors. Then that leads me into the shop drop. So this video is coming out May 4th, and the shop drop is going to be Friday, May 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will have up, at a minimum, 50 Hookkeepers. I have been working my fingies to the bone to get these ready. I'm going to be bringing back some of the old favorite colors, and I'm going to have 10 of each of those. And then I'm going to be bringing in at least 2, if not 3, if I can get them done, new colors for you to choose from. Some of these are based on some suggestions that I had, as well as just what I could get within the time frame. I want to mention a few changes that are coming to the shop for this next drop. The first one is that I mentioned before to a few people that I was trying to get everything set up to be able to ship internationally, at least to like Canada, but unfortunately that's not going to be part of this drop. I started looking into it, and honestly, I'm a little scared of how this works when it comes to some of these fees that happen and things like that. So I don't want to do anything rash. I want to get domestic shipping right and not make any mistakes this time that I already did last time before I expand and offer to other areas. My friends who are not in the US, I'm so sorry for this particular drop. I'm not going to be able to ship elsewhere. I'm just not ready there yet where I feel confident that I'm going to get it right, not only for you, but for me as well. The other thing I want to update you on is the pricing of the Hookkeepers. I mentioned when I launched them that I dropped the price from $24 to $22 just for the launch, but I am going to carry that $22 pricing into this particular drop. I realized that more people would have bought them at the $22 if I had them. I just didn't have enough supply to meet the demand. So for this drop, again, they're going to be the $22. After that, there's probably going to be a tiered pricing going forward based on the cost of materials. The other thing that's changing is packaging. This one, I mentioned in my video about getting the products out that I was upset at myself for not including my little envelope things. But even in that, I watched some people unbox, and thank you if you did unboxing on your videos. I really appreciate that. But it wasn't the experience I wanted it to be. I was so upset. And primarily that's because I designed my packaging for my original, like, bring it to a market. So my original packaging is like a display card. So it was hanging up, the Hookkeeper is draped here, it's hooked onto the hook. So you get the idea. You're able to hopefully look at this and understand, or start to get an understanding of what the product is for. But if you're buying it online, you already know what it's for. It's described on the pictures and the description of the product, or you watched the video. So there's really no need to display it to you. It's been displayed online. And I don't know why I didn't think of this, and I'm really mad at myself for not. But that's okay. We had the first experience. We learned from it. Going forward, they're going to be shipped in little jewelry style boxes. This is, you know, just something that's got the little cotton thing inside. And this makes a lot more sense. So inside of that will be your connectors and everything like that if you do purchase a Hookkeeper. And I just think it's going to be a much better unboxing experience. As I mentioned, there's going to be some new colors of beads for Hookkeepers, as well as a new switch marker design or two. And I'm also going to be releasing some new enchantments. So if you already have switch markers, or you just want to add these on, this is a little mushroom collection. So this is in black, but I'm going to have multiple colors available for you in that. I am also going to be offering a new safety eye collection. One thing I learned from my last experience was, number one, I do not love painting 20mm safety eyes. And number two, when I'm using more of a chunky glitter, I don't love the way that they look. There's not enough canvas area for it to show the glitters off as well. So in this new collection that I'm going to be offering, which I'll tell you about in just a second, they're going to be available in 25mm, 30mm, and 35mm. The new collection is called the Lunar Collection, and they are all based on moon colors. So one of these you already saw in my cat gargoyle. The first one is called Gibbous, and it's this gorgeous silver with mirrored glitters in it. Next up is Sanguine, the Blood Moon, which is this deep orangey red. Third up is the Paschal Moon, which is the pink moon, the gorgeous hollow shift. And then the Once in a Blue Moon, Lenten Moon, which is this gorgeous blue with some hollow shift. These are all 100% custom mixes, many of which are glitters that I actually can't get anymore because they are from an old nail supply company that I used to use. So they are going to be a limited drop, 10 of each size. So it's a card of 4 pairs of eyes in whatever size that you choose in all 4 colors. And I'll have 10 of each size, 25mm, 30mm, and 35mm. So yes, once again, the shop drop is going to be Friday, May 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm super excited. I hope that everyone who missed out on getting a Hookkeeper last time is able to do so. If not, there'll be another drop shortly thereafter because I want to make sure that these get in the hands of everybody who wants them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not already subscribed, please consider doing so. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.